Hey everyone, it's Karen, and I wanted to give you a kind of some more intel on the Park City Board of Realtors press release. This is something that I was only really introduced to last year that the board, when I realized that, I mean, I obviously as an agent, I know about this release and all the stats, but it became clear to me that the assessor's office was starting to use this document to prove that their valuations were correct. And that was only coming out after people had appealed. So now I am providing this before you appeal, and I want to help you make sense of it. So this is the press release. There is a lot of information on a lot of these first pages. It gives general numbers based on areas, based on the property types. These might not be things that are so specific to your property. And given that you are being assessed based specifically on your property, it seems to make the most sense that we look through this and we make the most and we try to get as close to we can on the valuation based on your property type and your neighborhood. You will see this kind of written out here in multiple ways, but interest rates here, just this is an example. Interest rates affect sales in various neighborhoods very differently. In Pine Brook and Jeremy Ranch, where the bulk of the inventory is conventional family homes, many buyers need financing. With higher interest rates, that financing is harder to rationalize. In other areas, predominantly vacation or second home inventory, more sales are cash buyers, making interest rates irrelevant. So this is why it is extremely hard to make these general assessments and assumptions about the overall market. As you can see here, again, the Park City market has been and will continue to be highly segmented, with each neighborhood having unique values and unique pricing trends. Even within one neighborhood, prices may vary widely based on many factors. Hyperlocal knowledge is becoming more important to the buying and selling process. So this is just good for you to know. You're welcome to look through some of these charts, but I like looking through these just so you can see some of the trends that we're facing. As you can see from this chart, and this is something that's really fascinating to me when people think like the market's going to crash, something major is going to happen. We see here that from around 2012 until COVID, this market was pretty stable. And taking out the COVID years of 2020 and 2021, we are now back to those stable years. So if anybody's thinking things are going to go way up or way down, obviously we can see here that there are some variations based on the property type, condo, single family, or land. But we are generally getting back to a normal level. So hopefully what this should signify is that we won't be seeing such drastic changes moving forward as as just more time goes on. So these charts, this is market-wide market overviews. This gives you a really good understanding of what's happening across the market. However, like I said at the beginning, it's very important that we look at what's happening in your area and your property type. So this is really where I'm suggesting that people go to. So say you have a home in, I've been getting some calls from people in, let's just say the Park Meadows area, and somebody said, oh, my value went up X%. So here what we can see is that there were only a few more sales in 23 than there were in 22. Now, does this have a major impact on the market? Not really. If this number was like 3 compared to 31, absolutely, that's a very big difference. But this just shows that there were a few more sales. What that means is somebody was just motivated to sell. We all know that there are certainly reasons why people sell. But here in Park Meadows, the average price went down 9% and the median price went down 7%. I'm just going to confirm that, average and median. So if you're looking at your valuation and you're thinking, this is like, why did mine go up? The thing we do need to keep in mind here is that the volume did go up 1%. So that just means that there was more value in the real estate that was sold. again, we know that there are outliers. We know that this includes old homes, new homes, all over the Park Meadows area. It is still a very segmented community. So let's just take this all into consideration. Last year, what I learned and saw very quickly when I got a lot of calls from people in Jeremy Ranch was these numbers, it showed that the values were actually much higher. So instead of seeing, for instance, here in red, we see that we saw that, or the county claimed that the values went up. And they said, this is what the values supposedly went up in your neighborhood. So therefore we are putting let's just say that this was a positive 30. Let's just say that they said, so your value, essentially, we assume that it went up 30%. We all know that is not the case. So my feeling about this is that if the assessor's office is going to claim that, then we should, for lack of a better word, throw it back at them and try to claim, listen, you told me that my value, that my value is up, but here in this report, we see that values are down. We see that they went down 30% for both the average and the median. So actually, mine should be adjusted down. In this case, though, again, we do have to look at all the stats. We see that there were more sales done. There were 10 more sales in 2023 than there were in 2024, 2022, which we all kind of knew was going to happen. Keep in mind that in about April or May of 2022, that's when we started to see interest rates. That's when they shot up in the middle of the year. The market got really it just stalled, if you recall, and there were just fewer sales overall. So as you can see, we are leaning more towards a more stable market where there are more sales happening. But if you look at this number, you see more sales, but prices went down. Values went down. So I think that it's important that you look through this report. The first few sections of this are, and they're all numbered based on the community neighborhood number, single family homes, they're broken out, single family homes and condos. So just be sure that you're looking at the right category. So here's where condominiums start. This is really important information to have, especially if you're in a community like the Colony and you're in Canyons Village. Like, clearly we know that there were a lot of sales there, but this number is drastically different. Like, look at how much lower these are last year, partially because there was just a lot of new inventory that finally closed last year. It's not like people said, I don't want to sell right now. There was just less new inventory. But when you compare Canyons Village as a whole, and this is where people get into trouble, Canyons Village also includes the Colony. So the Colony, obviously, you've got some very expensive homes there. That number alone can manipulate the overall comps. So I hope this helps you just to kind of make sense of the stats. Generally speaking, according to the brokerage community and to our stats meetings, if you don't see at least 10 sales in any given community in the year, that's not really a market, right? We don't, like, you have very few sales to compare. So while you're looking through these and you're thinking, wow, like, there were only Silver Springs area, for example, there were only 8 sales. Well, again, like, these could be all over the board. Why did they go down? Maybe because there was a few more very, very low end, maybe more original condition properties that sold. So I urge you to take this with a grain of salt. As we saw, every neighborhood is segmented. The market is extremely segmented, and there are so many other ways. And I'm only introducing this to you because the county really was like drilling in on these stats last year. But there are so many other ways to look at the value of a home. For instance, the views, the finishes, the age of the home, how much of it is above ground versus below ground, and overall location, location. So if you've got any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I am here to help.